coming out here and being from the Pacific Northwest, I had a really hard time considering these mountains as mountains. There's definitely a beauty to these mountains that that it maybe is hard to translate to somebody from the West until they get into the mountains and actually see them. So I don't know. I guess I was a little bit wrong about these mountains.
My name's Donovan Thurman. Join me and my dog Remy as we travel off the beaten path in my trusty old Subaru.
So welcome to the Pisgah National Forest. I stopped here at the ranger station here and visitor center to get a little bit of information about the camping out here. It's really important to not just assume that the dispersed camping situation is the same in every national forest. For example, here they have designated roadside camping sites as well as campgrounds. So I stopped in there to get a map and talk to them a little bit, and it's a good thing I did because it turns out a lot of the roads in this area are actually closed for the winter. There's no snow, but I guess the ice is pretty bad and it takes a long time to melt, so there's a lot of it closed. So I went ahead and marked on here with a highlighter the roads that are open, and got some nice information from them, and they were really nice to talk to. But most importantly, I got a new sticker for my storage box. So this is one of the designated dispersed sites along Avery Creek here in the Pisgah National Forest. Now, if I didn't make it clear enough before, the way they do dispersed camping here is that you have designated sites like this where there's actually a fire ring, a nice flat pad for you to put tents on and stuff, and a little parking spot. And that's the way they do it here, and I can understand why they do it here. It makes it easier for them to kind of monitor the camping and upkeep and stuff. But these sites did come with a nice strict warning on the sign there about maintaining it and keeping it nice. So that's what I always try and do, no matter where I'm dispersed camping. So this is gonna be my home for tonight. So that was by far, I think, the coldest night that I've spent in the car. I think on the trip out here it got into the low 20s in like Arizona or something, but yeah, it was 17 degrees, I think the car said this morning. So that was cold, and unfortunately, yeah, I knew this, but I just didn't think about it, as the cold affects the batteries. So all my camera batteries are pretty much dead. This one is the last one that's holding enough juice to record anything. My little rechargeable fan died halfway through the night, so all my windows were frozen with condensation. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is plug this fan into the auxiliary battery tonight and let it just run off of that power so that it can stay running all night and stop the condensation.
The added time with Sophia is like time.
I decide to take advantage of the car's heater and get an early start exploring the area. The benefit of being an early bird? I catch the sunrise as it washes over the surrounding hills. Following my map towards a couple of campsites, I'm surprised with a nice creek crossing. I found these sites beautifully nestled in the confluence of two rivers that are still carrying the evidence of much colder days. However, their beauty is betrayed with left behind trash and general untidiness. But I've got trash bags and some time to kill.
Pointed in the direction of the ongoing commotion. Even to Mac, it was obvious that the man who left...
So I'm looking at the map here, and frankly, I'm a little bit bored. We took a nap. I finished my audiobook that I was listening to, and it's getting a little late, but the map shows that there's potentially another campsite right up the road, and it looks like it's pretty close to the Blue Ridge Parkway, which that road is definitely closed, but I was able to drive the road that cut straight across it. That was not closed. So if I can get up to there and the road's not closed, there's a chance that it might be a really cool high elevation campsite with a view or something. Downside is I'm going up higher in elevation, so it might be even colder. But if the spot's taken, or I can't get there, or the road's closed or something, I'll probably just come back here. So for now, I'm gonna make up a spot in the back for that bag of garbage that I picked up and head on up the road a ways and see if I can't make it to this spot. Alright, well, there's nobody in the spot. and it's awesome. This spot is awesome. I'm glad I got bored. The drive up here was amazing. The river and all the ice is incredible, and wide open sky above me. I bet it's gonna be cold though.
Fortunately, it wasn't nearly as cold last night. But it didn't stop me from getting up early to try and catch another awesome sunrise, but this time from the top of the mountains. On the drive up to the lookout, I had time to reflect on an unfair opinion that I've been holding since before I even arrived in North Carolina.
So, I do have a little bit of something to admit. And coming out here and being from the Pacific Northwest, I had a really hard time considering these mountains as mountains. When you grow up used to seeing, you know, peaks and timberlines and snow caps, you get this idea of this majesty of a mountain, I guess, that you don't quite get here in the same way. And but as I'm driving around and I'm seeing all these stony outcroppings, and you know, I start to realize that you know, these mountains are just old. And actually, I had to look it up, and the Blue Ridge Mountains are the second oldest mountain range in the whole world. So at one point, these mountains probably did have these amazing peaks and snow caps and timberlines, but you know, a billion years of erosion and stuff wears them down. And what we're seeing with all these outcroppings and these stones and these amazing waterfalls and stuff is just I guess I consider it like the skeleton of the mountain, and it's got its own kind of amazing majesty in its own way. And there's definitely a beauty to these mountains that that it maybe is hard to translate to somebody from the West until they get into the mountains and actually see them. So I don't know. I guess I was a little bit wrong about these mountains.
If you like to follow along with the rest of our adventures, make sure to subscribe, and to make sure you don't miss out on any other videos, click the notification bell as well.